Hello, this is Ruth Cubbin, welcoming you to the concert hall here in Broadcasting House, London, for another concert in our series Folk 78. Tonight, I'm delighted to welcome one of our foremost British singer-songwriters. His ballad style has developed from the French chanson tradition of story and song to a unique English blend of musical storytelling. With accompaniment from Geoff Bodenham, ladies and gentlemen, Harvey Andrews.
In an old hotel in Germany, I'm thinking all the while of you. And I'm wishing I was on the plane back home right now. Everybody I meet, they send their love and they've been so good to me that I'll never have the words to let them know just how. And they heard our music and they sang our songs and they gave us food and wine. And I've got to get you over here to meet these friends of mine. We traveled on down through Amsterdam and the plains of the open land to the lonely man who asked what news we had. And we sang to them of the open road, of the city and the town. And we gave them all the views, both good and bad. And they heard our music and they sang our songs and they gave us food and wine. And I've got to get you over here to meet these friends of mine. And they heard our music and they sang our songs and they gave us food and wine. And I've got to get you over here to meet these friends of mine. So here's another picture card and here's another word, just to tell you it's your love thing keeps me sane. And I know you'll cry when I hold you close, and I know that I'll be glad. And I'll never stay away from you this long again. Yes, I know you'll cry when I hold you close, and I know that I'll be glad. And I'll never stay away from you this long again. Thank you. There was in America a very great songwriter. For me and many of my friends, he was someone we all looked up to and respected. In many ways, he was to songwriting as Van Gogh to painting, in that nobody took a great deal of notice of him. He made 6 incredible albums, never became famous, had a hard time and a hard life, and unfortunately committed suicide in New York 2 years ago. A man called Phil Ochs. And I know a lot of people say, who? So what I'd like to do for you is to sing one of Phil's songs, and then the song that I wrote for Phil when I heard the news about him. There's no place in this world where I'll belong when I'm gone. I won't know the right from the wrong when I'm gone. won't find me singing you this song when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. I won't feel the flowing of the time when I'm gone. All the pleasures of love will not be mine when I'm gone. My pen won't pour a lyric line when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. I won't see the golden of the sun when I'm gone, and the evenings and the mornings will be one when I'm gone. Can't sing louder than the guns when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. And I won't be running from the rain when I'm gone. Won't know who's to praise and who's to blame when I'm gone. Can't even suffer from the pain when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it. Guess I have to do it. Guess I have to do it while I'm here. I spent so many hours with you. I listened to each line the way I knew you'd want me to. You never told a lie, but honest men don't prosper now. Your truth will never die. Although you made the final bow, a stranger in the dark, the face inside the looking glass, and now you've slipped away. There's no one left to watch us pass. If only I had known how sad it was to be denied, how bad it was to feel the loneliness you locked inside when all the words were gone and there were no more songs to rhyme. The empty pages turned to mark the passing of your time, the stranger in the dark, the face inside the looking glass, and now you've slipped away. There's no one left to watch us pass. Face inside the looking glass, and now you've slipped away. There's no one left to watch us pass. I'll keep you every day, as close as loving ever can. I'll sing them all the pain and hope that they can see the man, the torch bright in your hand, the lost one standing all around, the ragged flag of peace you carried on the battleground, the stranger in the dark, the face inside the looking glass, and now you've slipped away. There's no one left to watch us pass. So now your race is run. When all the blossom told of spring, the story now is done. The saddest song I'll ever sing. Thank you. Now let's shift the accent. This is like to sing you now song from my next album. Really wonderful to be here in London tonight, really is. Isn't that what they all say now? This is basically a true story told to me by my grandfather, and he heard it from his sort of... Well, my grandfather was in actual fact a music hall buff. He inherited a music hall from my great-grandfather, who was a very intelligent man. He was a bookmaker and a publican. Very clever. And he owned a music hall, which of course disappeared after the Second World War, as most of them did. This is the true story of a music hall artist who was playing before and after the Second World War. It's a story of one night in his life. He billed himself as a singing knife grinder because most of the best images had gone. He came on with a bicycle with a little box on the front and a grinding wheel. People used to sharpen knives in the streets with these. And a little red bandana on his head to give the hint of gypsy blood. And he never really made it to the top, but this is the story of his great night. It's called The Ballad of Lot 204. Well, I'll tell you a story, sir, if you'll buy me a beer. It might just raise a smile, sir, or then again a tear. The boards, they were my life, sir. The stage, it was my joy. I saw Roby as a man, and I watched Formby as a boy. The boards, they were my life, sir. The stage, it was my joy. Well, I was the finest stagehand the Empire ever had. For me, the good old days were good, for others they were bad. There's one that I remember. He would come round twice a year, the singing knife grinder who trundle on his gear. He'd sing his songs and sharpen knives and come round twice a year. Well, he never got too far, you know, he never topped the bill. He'd always get them listening, but he couldn't make the kill. He'd always come in joking. It's an old one now, I know. I'm second billing to the printer of the poster, this sweet Joe. And he'd smile and say, I'm sorry, it's an old one now, I know. Well, he sang the same old songs in the same old style, told the same old stories that lasted him a while. Although they never cheered him, it was always said he gave a pleasant show, he always earned his bread. Well, he opened up the second half as he had always done. I raised the safety curtain and I watched him trundle on.
the same old red bandana, and the gleaming street machine. It was just as though the intervening years had never been. The same old red bandana and the gleaming street machine. Well, I wondered what he'd do if ever they encored. The band there in the pit had only 4 songs scored. He finished to a ripple and I rang the curtain down. Then I waited for the next turn, performing seal and clown. But then the ripple grew to genuine applause. The cast came from the dressing rooms asking for the cause, and standing in the wings as the people went to town were the dancer, the juggler, the acrobat, the clown. They were standing in the wings as the people went to town. For then the ripple grew into a steady roar. I stared at the knife grinder, the one they cheered for. They stamped and they whistled. Well, you should have seen his eyes. My God, can you imagine the fright and the surprise? We saw beneath his makeup there were tears in his eyes. Well, I swear he stared straight through me at all the years he'd done, at all the boards he'd trodden, the nights he'd never won. He nodded for the curtain and I raised it once again, and I watched him trundle out there, the happiest of men. But there was no spotlight shining for him there. He stood in the dark. I screamed, it isn't fair. For in the box above him, responding to the roar, stood old Winston Churchill, the hero of the war. No, no, they hadn't told us. We didn't know he'd come. I rang the curtain down and I stood there feeling numb. He walked into the nightmare of memory ahead. He walked from off the stage and the knife grinder was dead. He pushed a pathway through us. He never made a scene, but when we closed down later and I went out to clean, standing in the wings was a knife grinding machine. Well, the theater closed down, sir, like all the music halls. The strip shows and the bingo, they couldn't fill the stalls. They plan to hold an auction next week when they close it down. I think that you should go, sir. Take a look around. Well, I thanked the old stagehand and I went to the sale. I bought a few old handbills when the bids began to fail. And then lot 204, it was a knife grinding machine, and I knew I had to have it, even if the bids were keen. That lot 204, it was a knife grinding machine. For sitting in the corner was a very tired old man, and I had seen him straighten when first the sale began, and I had seen him smile when the old machine came on, and though I'd never heard him sing, I knew he was the one. He stood to leave the theater when I had bid the last. I gently touched his arm as he shuffled past. There is no red bandana, sir, you must have that at home, but let me please return to you something that's your own. Yes, take it, sir, and sing again as you make your way home. Ah, let me please return to you something that's your own.
Thank you very much. This is another song off the next album. The album is basically the biography of my family since the year 1900. This is a song, a true story. I knew the lady in it very, very well. Everything about this is true, because people hear this and they say, that story is just, that cannot be true, that story. And it is, absolutely. It's a song called Margareta. It applies to everybody in England, every family. It starts off just before the 1914-18 war, and then comes through to the 50s.
They're playing our song, Margareta. Dance it this last time with me. It won't be long, Margareta. Soon I'll be overseas. Let me know that you care when I've gone over there. They're playing our song, Margareta. Dance it this last time with me. Kiss me again, Margareta. Give me a memory of you. They say in France, Margareta, one more push, we'll be through. Yes, I'll write, but where from? All they'll say is the song. So kiss me again, Margareta. Give me a memory of you. It's a new world, Margareta. We'll build when it's through in that new world, Margareta. We'll be wed, me and you. My old great aunt Margareta, she'd been blind 30 years, would tell me of young Margareta, of her man and her tears. She would say, he was told, there's his picture on the wall. My old great aunt Margareta, she'd been blind I would stare at the frame, but the sun was there shining through her window again, where that sun always shone. He had faded and gone, but she would ask, is he smiling? I would say, he's the same. It's a new world. Margareta, we'll build when it's through in that new world. Margareta, we'll be wed, me and you. They're playing our song, Margareta. Dance it this last time with me. It won't be long, Margareta. Soon I'll be overseas. Let me know that you'll care when I've gone over there. They're playing our song, Margareta. Dance it this last time with me. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You've been listening to the music of Harvey Andrews with Geoff Bodenham. My name's Ruth Cubbin, the producer is Ray Harvey, and there'll be more from Folk 78 next week.
Thank you very much, Ruth. May I tell you about our folk music program on Thursday evening at 9:02, Folk Weave, in which Tony Capstick introduces recordings of floor singers from the Gloucester Folk Song Club and from the 1977 festivals, English Tapestry at Brighton and the Boys of the Loch at Thurso. Now, a little bit earlier, my colleague Richard Clegg told you about our programs this evening on Radio 2, and I do hope you're going to stay with us for the remainder of the evening. But in all conscience, I must tell you about a very important broadcast on Radio 3 at 8 o'clock. It's the world premiere of Sir Lennox Berkeley's Fourth Symphony, in a concert direct from the Royal Festival Hall, in which the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra is conducted by Sir Charles Groves. And after Sir Lennox's symphony, Heather Harper will be the soloist in Les Illuminations of Benjamin Britten. And now at 7:30, we welcome new listeners on 247 as we join Ian Robertson at the Radio 2 Sports Desk.
Hello, good evening, and on another glorious day for cricket, there have been plenty of runs with centuries for Eddie Barlow and Alan Jones. For Jones, the second 100 of the match for Glamorgan against Hampshire. Somerset are the new championship leaders. All the scores in a moment, but first news that Barry Wood has been called into the England party for the first test, which starts on Thursday at Edgbaston, because of continuing doubts about whether Geoff Boycott will be fit. The thumb, which Boycott injured in the first Prudential Trophy match last Wednesday, is still bruised and swollen. Wood's last test was against the West Indies 2 years ago. Now today's results. At Lord's, Middlesex and Sussex match drawn. Middlesex 351 for 8 declared and